Now, let's say you have a car like this. It's a Mark 7 Toyota Celica GTS, and the main reasons you bought it are, well, number one, it's practical. Number two, it gets pretty decent gas mileage, but most importantly, the third reason, it's an absolute blast to drive. However, it is coming on just over 20 years old now, and perhaps it's about time you upgrade it to something modern. Perhaps then, this is the car for you.
What you see here is a 10th gen Honda Civic, but by no means is this an ordinary Honda Civic, because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when the big winged scarlet badged Civic pulls up to you at the light, you can be sure that the driver means business. Either that or they're just a huge fan of Need for Speed Underground. Nevertheless, Type R variants are serious performance cars, and the 10th gen, or Fk8 as it's called by the Honda fans, is no exception to that rule. All Type R Hondas can trace their legacy back to the first to adorn the red badge of honor, and that title goes to the supercar slayer known as the NSX, or New Sports Car Experimental. Let me put it this way. The NSX Type R and RGT are to the NSX what the GT3 and GT3 RS are to the 911. Excessively stripped down, stiffened up versions of an already exceptional chassis with a laser focus on braking, agility, cornering speed and stability, and lastly, driver enjoyment. The same can be said of all Type R variants, such as the legendary Integra Type R, the rare yet intriguing Accord Type R, and of course, the Civic Type R. However, the Fk8 is only the second Type R model that was made available to the US market, with the first being the 1997 Integra Type R, or DC2 as it's referred to internally, while the third model available here in the States is the current 11th gen Civic Type R, also known as the FL5. But enough history tidbits, let's focus on the Fk8 for now. So, starting with the basics then. The Fk8 has a curb weight of 3,117 pounds, and Honda has implemented some tricks to keep the weight down. For example, the hood is made out of aluminum instead of steel. The curb weight may seem a bit portly for a Honda Civic, but for comparison, a 2019 Golf R has a curb weight of 3,373 pounds, while a 2018 Ford Focus RS has a curb weight of 3,434 pounds, so the Honda still has the weight advantage over its main competitors. The wheelbase sits at 106.3 inches, while total length clocks in at 179.4 inches. With an overall height of 56.5 inches and a width of 73.9 inches, the Fk8 Type R has such a wide and low squat to its stance that it appears as if it's actually cosplaying as Spider-Man. Of course, the low and wide squat is a practical application to improve the handling capabilities of the vehicle. The widened fender flares hide two 45x30 R20 sized rims all the way around, wrapped in factory Continental Sport Contact 6 rubber. Although the wheel and tire combo has been modified on this specific vehicle, now sporting a 265x35 R18 wheel and tire combo. I'll discuss this more later. Bursting from behind the rim, you'll find 13.8-inch cross-Jordan ventilated rotors enveloped by 4-piston Brembo calipers from the factory, while the rears make do with 12-inch solid rotors. Still not convinced that this car was made for the track? Well, let me remind you that a 6-speed manual transmission is the only gearbox available, and it comes standard with a helical limited slip differential, arguably the best in the business. I wouldn't be surprised, then, if it was secretly developed by Bunta Fujiwara himself. Powering the Fk8 Type R is a 2-liter all-aluminum direct-injected 16-valve double-overhead cam inline 4. It utilizes forced induction in the form of a single-scroll turbocharger with an internal wastegate, along with Honda's famous VTEC technology, although only on the exhaust side this time around. In US spec, it makes 306 horsepower at 6,500 RPMs, and 295 foot-pounds of torque is available from 2,500 RPMs through 4,500 RPMs. It should be noted that the JDM and EDM spec cars make slightly more power at 316 horsepower as opposed to 306, so take that as you will. Inside, you'll find red accents all over the place, complemented by manually adjustable red bucket seats from the factory. If you don't happen to like red and black as a color combination, well, then you're out of luck, as that's the only color combination available. I'll discuss more about the space available inside later, so let's hear from the owner of the vehicle.
What's going on, y'all? I'm back with my good friend Sho. Sho, how's it going?
Good man. How are you? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I apologize for being a bit dirty. I literally drove straight from the shop.
No worries. Hard at work, huh?
Yeah, no, I'll put up a picture so they can see what I look like after this shit.
Oh no!
お前はもう死んでいる。
See, I did try and rinse my face off, but we're good. But yeah, so the last few times you were on the channel, we weren't doing cars, we were doing bikes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we went from the Shadow, then we went to the Gucci, and now this, which seems to be a big wild card, huh?
Yeah, man. Definitely different from my last vehicles on your YouTube.
So the first question I have for you, and we're gonna get straight to the point, right? What made you choose this over the 11th Gen Type R and the what do you call it, Toyota GR Corolla?
Yeah. So my biggest reason why I got this car is just specifically from looks.
Okay.
I felt like it looked like a Gundam.
Okay, yeah,
I like the Gundam look, you know. But yeah, I definitely love it. The reason why I picked this over a GR Corolla was definitely size of the trunk. This is my daily driver, so trunk size matters. One thing I do wish I wanted to have compared to the GR was the 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, that's fair, especially for Michigan.
Yeah, definitely,
like
especially for Michigan. But you know, I'm sure if I get a good, nice snow tires, I'll be all right.
What do you call it? I would say it's not like the sleekest car I've ever seen, but it's definitely an attention getter, and at least to me, it excites me. It says, you look at this car and you're like, that car's fast.
I don't get sick of driving this car. And then, you know, I try to be humble about it. So, like, if, like, someone's driving, they'll be like, what is it? I'll be like, oh, it's just a Honda Civic, you know?
It's just a normal
so,
Civic.
like, if you know, cool. If not, it is what it is.
I gotcha. How do you like driving the car? You said you really enjoy it. It's your daily. So, I know, for example, it's got a couple different driving modes. How often are you switching between those?
So, I don't really use the Type R mode too much. There's not really a need for it. Like, if I'm just having fun real quick on the highway or something, quick little pull, cool.
Yeah.
But I use, like, the, if I'm in, like, an area where I gotta move quickly, sport mode works just fine. And then, like, especially, like, going to work commutes and stuff, I just use comfort, and it, you know, I get 30 to 35 miles a gallon.
That's actually
just on cruise
good.
control, and I just chill. Yeah, this car, as great as it is, you know, has the downside of the front wheel drive. So like, if you're trying to like book it from the beginning, from like a red light, it just wants to spin first, second, third, just spin.
I will say that limited slip differential though does do wonders. Like,
absolutely.
How do I put it?
It does help with torque scare like crazy.
Like, a front-wheel drive car shouldn't corner this well, and it shouldn't pull this hard, but it does.
So like, my last like stick was a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Okay.
It was a 4-gen Mitsubishi Eclipse with like the big old back and the little bubbly.
Okay.
But like it felt like that kind of clutch. You can like ease into it and you can ease out of it no problem. And like especially on hills, like it has like the hill assist.
Okay.
So when I shift, I don't have to worry about rolling back, which is really, you know, gives me a peace of mind.
All these modern features. I'm like, yeah, my car's from 02, bro. I guess another question I would have for you is this car, you said it's modified, but it's not tuned. Was that you or the previous owner?
So that was all the previous owner. So everything done on the car, I bought from the dealership like this.
Okay.
The exhaust, everything is all them. I just need to get it down to the tuning shop. They'll take care of them. down in Ohio.
Okay.
And see if they can get it tuned up. Yeah.
Okay. I will say I have been in the car. Exhaust is a bit loud, isn't it?
It is. It is. It is quite loud. Sometimes I feel like a little too loud.
Okay.
But on the other hand, when I'm driving on the highway and stuff, and I just hear the RPMs just roar, it feels good. It feels good, and that gets me over it every time.
So overall, what would you say you really like about this car, and what would you say you don't like about this car?
Ooh, okay.
You got him, boys.
So,
You got him.
yeah, things I like about the car are the majority of the things.
The majority of the things.
I know. Let me explain. I got you.
All right.
Like the seats,
Okay.
super comfy. I could take this for a road trip, no problem,
Okay.
and be just fine. The gas mileage, like I said earlier, wonderful.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Long as you're not like doing pulls every 5-6 seconds, going from A to B. This thing will take you anywhere and everywhere. It's,
Okay.
it's a Honda, you know.
Yeah, there's
At
that
the end of
Honda
the day, it's a-
reliability,
right,
right? This
yeah.
is gonna go.
And the tasteful 18-inch rims
Yeah,
that
I mean-
the previous owner did
There you go.
makes a world of a difference. Because I hear nothing but awful things about the 20-inch with the low, with like the Cup 2s, especially
Okay.
on the track. I hear they're great.
Yeah.
On regular roads, I hear they're awful. This is a lot more usable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's road friendly. It's also track friendly. I'm kind of interested though. So it's got the buckets in it.
Yep.
But you said they're really comfortable.
Yes.
Interesting. So having been in the car, I would say I agree with it. Because compared to, again, going back to the Focus ST, and I know someone in the comments is going to be like, oh, isn't the Focus ST like the competitor to the Civic Si, not the Type R? And I know technically, yes, you're right. The Ford competitor to the Type R was the Ford Focus RS, but that's not the one I drove. I haven't been in one yet. At least not now. So Focus ST, Dan had the optional bucket seats in it.
Yeah. Okay.
And those were really tight.
Yeah.
Like, they
that's
were
what I hear.
they were clearly meant to be used on a track. They were not comfortable.
Uh-huh.
And both Dan and I can vouch for this because we did a road trip all the way to the East Coast for Tim's wedding in it.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's like the buckets in these, they will hug you in place.
Yep.
And like looking at it, it looks like you have some space for like a harness if you wanted to and stuff like that.
Yep.
But they don't, how do I put it? They don't crush you.
Yeah, they're not. They keep you in place, but not like too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For downside, biggest downside
Yeah.
is, you know what? Biggest downside is honestly the gas tank.
Okay.
Gas tank is 12 gallons. It's not
Okay,
enough.
that's not-
I
okay.
wish it was like 15.
Yeah, if you
Or
had just like a
17.
couple of more. So it gets good gas mileage, but it has a small...
Gas tank. So that's kind of like
Gas
the
tank, okay.
trade-off. You feel me?
I guess.
And like premium's expensive. Other than that, I have no complaints. I feel like I have enough.
Okay.
You know, when I look to my over my shoulders turn lanes, I feel like I have enough blind side.
Okay.
And yeah, I can't complain. We'll see in the winter though.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how the winter goes.
Yeah, just get a set of winter tires. You'll be fine with that limited slip.
That's what I that's what I hear.
If someone was looking to consider buying one of these cars, what's something you would tell them to look out for? Like, what
Look
should
out.
they watch for?
Transmission, grinding. They seem to be notorious for them. Even on the way here, I was trying to put it in third gear and it grinded a little bit.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's something I'm gonna check out soon.
Well, I'm curious now. I'm gonna
yeah.
hop on the internet when I get home and do some digging.
If you're gonna take it on the track, definitely aftermarket intercooler and stuff. Make sure
Okay.
the management's good.
That's a good point.
And then I definitely recommend get the smaller tires, smaller wheels.
Would you ever consider trading it in for a GR, Corolla, or an 11 Gen, or no? Would you just stay with it? You're content with it?
I've really thought about that. I really thought about that. I just think I could get so much more daily practicality with this over the GR Corolla.
Okay.
Like here, like the trunk's like half the space and everything's a lot more.
Okay.
and then over the, you said the 11th gen?
Yeah, which is the current model out now.
Yeah. I'd probably still choose this. I'd still choose this. Yeah, just because I like the look so much more.
That's fair. That's a fair point. All right. Well, it's time to get driving, my man.
Sweet. Hell yeah.
If you were to take Doc Brown's DeLorean back to the 1980s and then ask the first pedestrian you came across to draw what a futuristic car would look like, that person would draw an Fk8. I mean, just stare at this thing for a second. It's impossible not to. The wing, skirts, and rear diffuser appear, as Sho mentioned earlier, as if they belong on Yamato Kira's Gundam Freedom. The daytime running lights and stylized rear taillights combined with the red trim that runs around the bumpers and skirts gives the Fk8 a cyberpunk aesthetic worthy of it being placed in V's garage. However, it's not to everyone's liking. The Fk8 caused, and still creates strife amongst car enthusiasts over its outlandish design. For some people it's too much, but in my personal opinion, this car looks good. It's not elegant, yet I find that there's a certain charm to it, and I applaud the designers for having the balls to try something unique instead of creating a bland, safe, and soulless piece of corporate paste that pleases the masses. It does, however, lose some points for a lot of those vents being fake. I have the same issue with the New Edge Mustang and the Mark V Supra, but also like those cars, the fake vents aren't a deal breaker for me. But I'm not finished yet, so buckle up viewers, because it's about to get spicy. When this car's successor, the FL5, was released, it basically received universal praise from car publications and automotive YouTubers the world over for its revised styling. But I'll be blunt. I don't think the Fk8 deserves all the criticism, and I definitely don't think that the FL5 deserves its universal praise for its restyle. Allow me to break this down. Firstly, I think the newer FL5 nailed the stance. It has a lower squat than the Fk8 and the front end looks mean and menacing. Therefore, the FL5's front end looks much better than the Fk8. However, the side profile, especially towards the rear, doesn't sit well with me. It appears bloated, while the Fk8 looks more exotic in comparison. Then we get to the rear, and frankly speaking, it's too tame on the newer FL5, and the wing, although sturdier than the Fk8, looks like it was an afterthought. It's like the designers and engineers forgot that this was supposed to be a track car, and at the last minute were like, shimata! And tossed the wing on and shipped it out the door. In short, the FL5 looks like 3 different cars mashed into one to create something a bit sterile, if I might say. The Fk8 may look wild and ridiculous, but when I look at it, it's very clear to me that the Fk8 had a singular design philosophy in mind and they stuck with it. It works as a cohesive unit, and from every angle I very much can tell that I am looking at the same car. Styling is always a subjective thing. Appalling vehicles have always been a part of automotive design. Some end up becoming iconic, while others clearly deserve to be burned at the stake. But I rest my case here. I'm quite interested in hearing what you guys have to say about the Fk8 styling down below in the comments. But alas, it's time to get to the good stuff. It's time to get behind the wheel.
Alright. You wanna know what, Green Man? Yeah, so this is now the 5th car of mine that's on the channel. Just joking, everybody. Just joking.
Sho has transformed into the greatest of men, Dan Larson. Sho actually could not make it to the
car and everything.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Yeah, real cool. But yeah, as you can see, Dan Larson's driving first, and then I will steal the keys from him.
I'm this man's chauffeur for the evening.
Yeah, that's it. First, like, sitting in the Type R. What are these, Recaro seats?
No, I think these are, I don't think they're Recaros. I think they're, like, yeah, sorry. I wasn't connected.
Yeah, and we don't have a spare one that fits, so.
Yeah, but I don't think these are Recaros. I don't know, what does it say on the back?
It says Type R.
Type R? Alright. I think it might be an in-house seat.
Okay.
So
I'll put it up on the screen after I do some more research on this car, because we're shooting things actually kind of out of order. So if I look a bit dirty, I apologize. I literally drove straight from the garage over to Dan's place so we could start doing the driving portion.
yeah.
So yeah, when you watch the interview and the stationary shots and the rolling shots, all of that will be in the future. Nice.
That was the car.
Revelation, right? Yeah,
That was the
same.
car, that wasn't me.
Automatic rev matching in the Civic Type R is standard.
Joe said something about if it's in comfort or sport, it doesn't do auto rev matching below 2000.
Okay.
But I mean, it does it in all the modes from what I've seen, because I've done it in each one of the modes.
Yeah, because you have comfort, which is your, of course, normal road. Then you have sport,
Yeah, here,
you get to a nice back road like we're on now, and then you have obviously R mode, which is your most hardcore mode.
Yeah, which by the way, I just put it into comfort mode.
Yeah.
Like it changes the throttle mapping, it softens up the ride. It literally makes it feel like a normal car, except for the booming exhaust, but that's aftermarket. So
I was gonna say, since we're talking about that, and I got off track about the seats, I was gonna say they're buckets. They hold you, but they're actually not as tight as they were in the Focus ST.
these are much more comfortable
Yeah.
than my Focus.
Yeah.
Like I could do road trips in these seats. Those Recaros that were in the Focus, like when we went to Connecticut,
Yeah.
I don't know how we did it.
I'm saying we literally took the car all the way from Michigan to the East Coast and back, and somehow our backs didn't end up in pieces.
Yeah, I don't know how, but you know.
But it's actually, how do I put it? There's a lot of support down towards the bottom because it's a bucket, but it's like
There you go. I made it a little more quiet for you.
Thank you. But I can still move around. It's not gripping me as hard, but it still hugs. So if you like get on a nice tight back road and you start doing some spirited driving, or if you want to use the factory seats for a track day, I think they're more than adequate. More than adequate, excuse me.
I would agree with that. You know, like visibility is amazing. Like even though this thing has the amazing wing back there, I'm gonna say it's amazing. But like when you're looking through the rear windshield, you cannot see it, like straight up.
Okay.
So there's no lack of visibility there. I mean, it's like you're in a fishbowl.
Okay.
It's visibility is amazing.
That's the word I was looking for, ergonomics. That's why you don't come and start doing car reviews immediately after work when you've been up since like 5 in the morning.
Oh yeah. The fact that, you know, we're not bumping up shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Like this
Like
is
in the 78 Mini.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we're not like this. You know, yeah, this is a very large cabin. This honestly, this is bigger than my Focus cabin.
Yeah,
because
I
even
was
on the
gonna
Focus,
say.
yeah, we were like pretty much
My
like
Focus, it had like, with how far the dash came forward, and I still have like the clips so I can show some images and clips from the inside of that car. But the dash, it kind of came forward, and how do I put it? You didn't really have a lot of space to maneuver around towards like, say like towards the door, or not a lot of space in front of you. The Civic actually has a lot more Civic has a lot more room in it.
oh yeah.
I'm gonna keep that in. Get like the screen shake.
Yeah. You know, when you talked hot hatches, like top of the line, you always talked about Golf R,
Yeah.
Civic Type R, and Focus
Focus
RS.
RS. Yeah. You've also driven the modified John Works, alright?
Yes.
So, you remember that car, okay, with the turbo 1.6?
Yeah.
And the owner told me it's pushing roughly like 290, 300 horsepower, which is in the ballpark of this car. So how do you feel that car kind of pulls and uses its power compared to this one?
And well,
You know?
I haven't even gone past 50% throttle. so that way these
Kind of
bumps,
absorb all
yeah,
the bumps in the road.
And I mean, honestly, like, did you feel the night and day difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, when you're in the driver's seat, you'll definitely feel it too. If you buy a Civic Type R, like these 18-inch wheels with tires that have much more sidewall than stock, like this would be a much better daily driver. I could not imagine how absolutely terrible those 20s would feel.
Yeah, we had one, I think about a year ago, come into the shop. He had a nail in this tire, and so I had to take it off. And just looking at how skinny that tire was with the sidewall, number one, it was a huge pain to take off and put back on. But number two, when you have a sidewall that skinny on Michigan roads, it's not a good combination with all the like little potholes and stuff that you get driving around.
This thing is a riot. I love this thing. But I'm asking way too much of it for the traction conditions.
Well, it's like, what, 38 degrees Fahrenheit right now?
I don't know, what does the car say? 38 degrees. How do you know? Did you look over here?
The dog decided to put some pathway to many abilities, some consider to be unnatural.
You don't know what? You want to be a meteorologist or something? You want to stop reviewing cars? Yeah.
Snow said, what you doing, bro?
That was third gear.
Snow said, no.
Electronic parking brake. I think this is sacrilege for a hot hatch. In my Bronco, I can see it, but in this, I can't see it.
Puts glasses on to try and look cool.
Yeah, all the show's chargers are freaking Type C.
Good.
You want to know what?
Yeah, all you Apple people.
Don't worry, next iPhone will have Type C.
Alright, let me...
Oishi. It means delicious.
Oh, we're already in R mode?
Yeah, we're already in our mode.
Alright.
So, I mean, you can, put it in comfort, you can put it in sport, or you can just keep it in
Real quick,
auto.
my mechanic, senses are just tingling. You have brake pads, that's good.
Yeah, clutch engagement, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Really smooth and linear, you'll feel that.
Oh, so it's probably similar to the Celica.
Sure.
Yeah, it is. Alright, great, man. Oh boy. Alright, I'm just gonna leave it off here.
Alright, yeah, just throw it down there.
Yeah! My Assetto Corsa senses are tingling, alright?
I don't know what.
Just like the simulation. That was a terrible rip match, by the way, but...
Yeah, it's alright.
But yeah, no, all the power is there, so definitely, like, when I'm in the... Let me shut it up for a second. Okay. So when I'm in the driver's seat, alright? So far, as far as, like, the hatchbacks and stuff go, like, the hot hatches that we've driven on the channel, I think this has been, like, ST, the John Cooper Works, this, and then we'll throw in the Civic SI, because it's still in the compact kind of class.
Oh, yeah.
Power-wise, this feels the most like the modified John Cooper Works. But again, the way they deliver the power is different. So I think that's because this one with its, what is this, a 2-liter turbocharged?
Yeah.
The John Cooper Works is a 1.6-liter turbocharged, and it definitely has more turbo lag.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to spool the engine up, you have to go higher rev range to get the turbo to spool.
Yeah.
This, you get all that torque really down low. I'll put on the screen what it's at, because I'm not exactly sure. And also, this car rev matches much better than the John Cooper Works and the Focus ST.
Hey, my Focus ST rev match. temperature's been staying fine, but I mean, we also haven't been at 10 tenths like the whole time we've been driving, so. You know,
also, we've been in R mode, so I'm gonna put it in comfort. We're gonna go all the way down, and we're gonna see. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the throttle just feels neutered.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it just feels like a normal Civic.
It really is a night and day, almost.
Yeah.
Let us know, like, anyone else that has this car, like, what do you think between, like, the different drive modes? Because now, the car's absorbing the bumps in the road much better than it was in R mode, but obviously, R mode speaks for itself. That's like, oh, you want a track? So in theory, sport mode should be our middle ground.
Yeah, sport mode should be the middle. Which I don't know in terms of, like, the mapping.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, pretty sure comfort is probably like soft throttle, soft steering, soft shocks, or soft suspension. You know, sport might be moderate throttle, moderate steering, and then stiff suspension. And then R mode's just everything nuts. Which, I mean, you know, I sort of, I remember watching a video, and it was a review of someone doing Type R thing, and they were complaining. It's like, you know, it's 2020. Why can't we just go into our infotainment and just be like, I want to set it to my mode?
Oh, hey, it's that Mustang.
Yeah, it's that Mustang that was, It would be nice to have like a my mode where you can pick, you know, soft handling, soft shocks, and like aggressive throttle response.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, honestly, it's just two clicks, you know, you're just doing whatever.
Speaking of, let's put it in sport mode and see how she feels. So there we go. Traction control flashing. So yeah, immediately the car stiffened up and flattened down. It was like, oh, okay, you were actually serious about going fast. I misunderstood.
My mistake.
Like sport mode, I think, is actually really good at being a middle ground.
Yeah.
The weight actually doesn't feel too much heavier than comfort. So it's like, it's weird with the weight of the steering, okay? If this is comfort, this is sport, and then this is R.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very linear, it's more exponential.
Not at all. I also find it's really nice in the heads-up display. It tells you what gear you're in.
Yep.
Nice little
Hey, my
feature
Bronco
there.
does that.
Yeah.
My Bronco's a sports car.
Well, it does have sport mode. So, no. I'm in agreement with you. Absolutely in love with this car.
Yeah.
Sure, I absolutely love this car. Sorry that I missed that heel toe downshift, but I did the first one just fine.
There were a couple.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Oh, and it goes up to 55. All right.
Alright,
Break him,
so-
John.
The traction control's like pro.
Sounded like a jet ski. It was like,
Alright, here we go. Serious face on. Excellent. Yeah, we're in sport. It's just eating up the road like it's nothing. Excellent. So you can like push through the corner like this. And I am being a little bit like, how do I put it? Because it is like we're getting some snow right now. But surprisingly there's grip. Now of
Yeah, I
course,
mean,
when you're just
you get grip
flooring
when
it,
you get grip. Jesus Christ. You get grip when you're turning.
Oh,
You don't get grip in a straight line.
That's that giant wing and that limited slip differential putting in work.
Yeah, it's mostly the limited slip, but yeah.
If it isn't obvious by now, then allow me to tell you that Dan and I were absolutely smitten with this car. If there was a car that could physically define the phrase smiles per gallon, it would be an Fk8, because logically, this car doesn't make any sense. It's front-wheel drive, has 4 doors, and is born from a car that has the sole purpose of being as fuel efficient as possible, which means that in theory, it should be about as dull as that sitcom The Office. Yet this is one of the most exhilarating driver's cars in existence. Despite being driven by the front wheels, the Fk8 happily pulls you through the corner as if being sucked through a black hole. And with some grippy tires, like with what Sho has installed on his vehicle, combined with the obnoxious wing and clever limited slip, you're kept glued to the tarmac. And when you decide to let off the gas mid-corner, the whole car will rotate faster than a hyper dog chasing a squeaking toy. And because it's a front-wheel drive, 4-door hatchback, it's practical and sensible in every sense of the word. You can bring passengers. It's good fun then for not just the men, but the women and the children too. The brakes are ever so clearly track-focused, as the slightest hint of movement from your foot engages the Fk8's eagerness to be violently tossed around your favorite twisty road, or racetrack. That being said, the only time I found the brake sensitivity borderline annoying was when I went to pick up the car from Sho, and I was stuck in rush hour traffic. So, for those who become carsick easily, you'll be in for a jerky ride in the middle of rush hour. You've been warned. The Fk8's road manners outside of that are quite good. Comfort feels no more intimidating than the average Honda Civic, while R mode reminds you that you are behind the wheel of one of the greatest hot hatches ever made. Sport mode sits squarely in the middle by reducing steering assist and increasing throttle response. If I had one of these cars, I most likely would use Sport mode for the majority of my commutes. I'd save comfort for traffic and R for late nights, back roads, and racetracks. To get the most out of the steering though, you really need to be in R mode, as that reduces the most assist on the steering system. Allow me to explain. When the electric power steering system is active, the motor does the majority of the work to make things as effortless as possible, while keeping the wheel in the current direction. In doing so, however, the system becomes numb to the outside occurrences. Decreasing power to the electric motor alleviates this numbness and allows for the driver to have communication with the front suspension and rack, at the expense of requiring the driver to use more muscle to turn the wheel, since the motor is no longer taking the brunt of the weight of the metal components. And in the case of the Fk8, R mode truly is the car at its most raw and invigorating experience, which I think is the best way to truly experience this fine automobile. That being said, this also leads to my first big gripe with this car. You can't customize the drive modes. For example, it would have been nice if I could configure the car to operate with the comfort suspension, sport throttle, and R steering, so that I could enjoy the Fk8's performance pedigree without being punished by Michigan's failure of a paved road system. And while we're on the subject of tech and features, the infotainment system is quite outdated. Not only is it laggy, which in of itself is still an issue, but I mean, seriously. The system looks and operates as if it's the same one that Zach has in his FB6 SI, and that car is a generation behind this one. I'd like to think that for something that sits right beneath the flagship NSX, you'd want that system to feel premium and refined, and it simply feels like an afterthought. However, I can forgive the Fk8 because that's the last thing you'll be thinking about when you're zipping down some country back road in the middle of nowhere. My second big gripe with the Fk8, the factory wheels. The factory 20-inch rims are flow-formed, which is a cast technique that involves applying pressure and heat to the barrel. In the pressurized process, the wheel is spun, shaping the aluminum by compressing and stretching the metal. This makes it more durable, however it is not as durable as a forged rim. In short, driving through pothole-ridden roads, like here in Michigan, with the factory 20-inch rims installed is like trying to navigate a minefield. And having been working in a shop for roughly 3 years, I've seen the type of damage that a pothole can do. Another issue seems to be inadequate cooling during aggressive track sessions, a surprising gaffe from the Honda boys back in Japan. This seems to be caused by a combination of design choices for the K20C1, but the big consensus appears to involve the radiator being restricted of airflow. If you plan on tracking this car, which many people do, and rightfully so, you'll want to rectify this problem. The final gripe for me is the size of the fuel tank. The Fk8 gets pretty good gas mileage at a rough EPA estimate of 25 mpg combined, however it's not too different than my Mark 7 Celica GTS, which has a rough EPA estimate of 26 mpg combined. Let me put this into perspective though. The Fk8 has a 12.7 gallon fuel tank, while my old Celica has a 14.5 gallon tank. That means that the Fk8's fuel tank is roughly a 12.4% decrease in fuel capacity compared to my old Celica, which means that in theory, the Celica should be able to drive farther between fill-ups. It seems that the tank should be slightly larger, but I digress. That being said, if you are mostly doing highway commutes, then you can expect closer to a 29 to 30 mpg average. Despite these flaws, I still highly recommend buying one of these cars if you have the ability to do so. And no, I don't count the styling as a negative. I personally think that there are two reasons why people bag on this car's styling. The first is that Honda Civics tend to have a reputation for being purchased by some teenager after they've gotten a license, only to be riced out with cheap wings and splitters, then decked out with some cringe-looking hubcaps and rattle can flame decals all over, topped off and finished by an eBay fart can. In these cases, there are no performance modifications to the engine, transmission, suspension, tires, or brakes. It's all about maintaining a superficial appearance, and it doesn't matter if the Fk8 happens to be the real deal, with a 7-minute 43-second Nürburgring lap time. People see a Civic with a big wing and assume that it's a racer, and that's an unfortunate stereotype that Honda fans have to live with. The second reason: people don't like standing out from the crowd. And if a famous auto reviewer or automotive publication says that the styling is hideous, then the whole world will follow suit and say that it's hideous, because how dare Honda, the sensible brand, design a vehicle with highly stylized angles and a big wing? And yes, I'll admit that the styling is flamboyant, but not for a second would I dare call this car ugly. I personally think the boy racer look is a part of this car's charm. After all, it's a car that was designed with track-focused driving in mind, and frankly speaking, I think a lot of the people that pass up on this car because it's the Honda with the wacky, immature styling would be frothing at the mouth if it had a Lamborghini badge on the front instead of a Honda badge. But I'm sure the comment section will be civil about this statement. Now, there are a few good reasons that you may not want to buy an Fk8. Namely, the competition is strong in the hot hatch segment. Firstly, the Fk8 now has to share the spotlight with its two younger siblings, the newer Civic Type R FL5 and the new Integra Type S, and there's plenty of reasons as to why you would want one of these vehicles over the older Fk8. Firstly, the FL5 and Integra Type S don't have the same overheating issue as the Fk8, which means that both of these cars may be a better choice for out-of-the-box track days. Both the FL5 and Integra Type S have much-needed improvements to the infotainment system, and the interior cabins are improved in terms of build quality. They also ditched the factory 20-inch rims in favor of factory 19-inch rims, and to my knowledge, the FL5 does have an optional set of factory-forged rims available. However, it's not all perfect. Honda actually had to issue a stop sale safety recall on the Civic Type R FL5 due to insufficient frame welds on the driver's seat. Excess load can cause the frame to break, which means that in the event of a crash, the welds potentially can break down, leaving the driver improperly fastened into the seat. This affects vehicles manufactured from August 4th, 2022 through October 19th, 2022. So if you're considering the FL5 over the Fk8, you'll need to make sure that this has been addressed. The other issue unfortunately still revolves around dealer markups. The MSRP from Honda for the FL5 is $42,895 US, while the Integra Type S is listed at $50,800 US. On average, you'll see both of these cars marked up to roughly $55,000 to $60,000, which makes the Fk8 look like a good deal in comparison. For example, it seems that the Fk8 ranges from $35,000 to $40,000 depending on mileage, condition, and whether it has mods or not, and frankly speaking, these numbers aren't terrible considering the performance that comes with the car. But what if you want something all-wheel drive? Well, a Ford Focus RS is fetching similar prices with more torque, more power, and of course, all-wheel drive, albeit less interior space. The same can be said for the Volkswagen Golf Hara, which even comes with an optional 7-speed dual clutch if you've never learned how to drive stick. Meanwhile, the GR Corolla
やれやれだぜ。
はっきり言うわ。あまりのくだらなさにがっかりよ。
Okay, so drop in all the humor for a second. I know this is a Morizo edition, which is the most rare of the GR Corolla batch, and being limited to a couple hundred units a year or something like that, but this is insanity. The Morizo edition retails for just under $51,000. And here you have a dealer that was asking for basically 3 times the MSRP on a new car that is in production. This is literally cheating men and women out of their hard-earned money, and it's unacceptable. Now, fortunately, the prices on GR Corollas aren't averaging this high. I did find a Morizo edition for 61k, which is still pretty bad, but that's at least a step in the right direction. But basically, if you're looking for a GR Corolla, expect to pay roughly 40k to 50k. Or you could, you know, save yourself the headache and go buy an Fk8. Thanks for watching. Yeah, so he's recording from the dark side with Apple. I'm on the light side with Android.
Hey, come on, man. This is 4K 60 FPS right now.
Oh my God. Got my my tread depth gauge from the garage from work. We're gonna
inspect Show's wheels.
all right.
Tires.
Listen here, green man. We're just gonna. All right, let's see what this comes out to. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty
actually,
good. That's pretty
not
good.
bad.
All right, so roughly, come on, turn. This is easier at work when I don't have a camera.
It looks like you're at like 6:30 seconds.
Roughly 6:30 seconds of tread.
Look on the inside here. Is that
Yeah, like roughly. Okay.
dry wrap?
Roughly 6:30 seconds. So you can see it's. Oh, come on, focus. Just underneath the 7:30 seconds mark. One test. Show, say something real quick.
Can you hear me, world? I hope so. I guess this is like my normal talking volume. So I guess if you could hear me like this, then we should be good, right?
Bro, it's like the opening in a Nier Automata when 9S is rebooting 2B and he's just like, hello, can you hear me? I'm initializing your boot sequence now.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
So, it's written up for a transfer case service, but as you can see, the rear is driven solely off of electricity, and there's no drive line connecting the transmission to the rear wheels. So the engine drives the front wheels, the electric motor drives the rear wheels, which means technically there's no transfer case. But somehow it's written up for a transfer case service. So, see how loose that is? It's right there. Finally, there's a cool car in the garage. Got the homie Tyler, bro.
Got the whole what?
I said got the homie Tyler, bro. I'm just gonna use it for more bloopers after videos. Yo, if you've been following, bro, see that Hydro e-brake? Except Tyler destroyed the trans, right?
Yeah, it's on its way out. Hey, my people!
What's going on, y'all? My room's a bit of a mess, but that's fine. Just got off of work. 6 days a week, 0 out of 10. Seriously, don't recommend it, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Show, I know this video took a million years to finally be put through the editing process and get uploaded. But it's done. Good looking out, my guy. yeah, thanks for, always being willing to make videos, I guess. Yeah, whatever, man. But hey, heads up. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you've been good, man. It's been a minute. But yeah, also congratulations, my guy. Heard the news. Yeah, as for usual, if you liked the video, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a sub. If you didn't, I appreciate you making it this far. Leave a dislike, tell me what you don't like about it. And yeah, tell me if you got an Fk8, or tell me if you decided to save up for an FL5 or an Integra Type S. I saw an Integra Type S on the drive home from work today for the first time. It looks pretty mean in person. Or let me know if you went the Toyota route, went with the GR Corolla, or went Ford Focus RS, Volkswagen Golf R. Let me know what you like about this car, let me know what you hate about this car. And I'm really curious to hear everyone's thoughts on the styling. I personally don't think it's that ugly, although I can admit that it's quite, out there, design-wise. It's pretty, like I said in the video, flamboyant. But I don't think it's ugly, but I'm really curious to see what everyone says. But yeah. Just hang in there, man. This has been a lot. The past roughly whole year, you could say. But haven't always been in the right mental headspace. But pretty frustrated about some things. But is what it is. And frankly speaking, doesn't stop God from being good. So hope you all are doing well. If you're struggling, hang in there, man. Hang in there. I'm gonna go ahead and show you all the preview of the next car. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. You guys take it easy. Stay safe.
In the right place to move. In the right place for you. Always stay up all night. Watch the neon light. Touch your ones echo numb. Heartbeats like a drum. Be the fantasy. Give yourself to me. Stay in this moment. Just hold on, hold on. We like tonight, babe. Tomorrow it's gone. You in the moonlight. It's all that I want. It's all that I want. It's all. We can touch the sky, babe. It's a natural high. I know I'm alright when I look into your eyes. Give it to me, funky, funky. Give it to me. Give it to me, funky, funky. Give it to me. Give it to me, funky, funky. Give me that beat, that funky, funky. Give it to me, funky, funky. Give me that beat, that funky, funky.
That's really an interesting color. I didn't know it was red.